welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book Ghost Whisperer, and this is chapter 3. So let's get started. Early the next morning, at the Seattle police station, Sarah Manning was enjoying her first coffee when she received a call from the front desk. "Lieutenant, there's someone here to talk to you." "I'm coming now," she said. Sarah left her office and arrived at the front desk. She approached the man waiting there. "Hello, how may I help you?" she asked. "My name's Tony Cadella. I have information about a murder that happened about a year ago." People reporting crimes were often a waste of time. They came to complain about a neighbor or someone they didn't like. This was likely more busy work. He had her business card in his hand, and Sarah wondered where he'd got it. She hadn't given many cards out since she'd got promoted. "Please follow me." She led him to an interview room, set up the recording device, and sat facing him across the table. "Okay, tell me what you have." Tony recounted how he used to work at this company where he believed one partner killed the other partner. Sarah listened as the story unfolded. The more he spoke, the more she realized this was genuine. "So you're saying he buried the body somewhere on the business premises?" she asked. "Yes, if you check your missing person reports, that's when he went missing." "I'll prepare an affidavit for you to sign, then we can apply for a search warrant." "No problem. I should have done this sooner. Ian's widow needs closure," said Tony. Soon, Sarah had an affidavit form prepared and Tony signed it. Both Sarah and Tony missed a ghost watching their interaction because it was invisible to them. The ghost floated through the wall and was gone. That morning, Ed woke up in his apartment. He showered, dressed, and got a coffee. Ian hadn't appeared like he had recently, leaving Ed unsure what to do. The next move wasn't in his hands. He opened his laptop and checked through his email. Various stuff from work, but nothing he needed to respond to. Ed was glad he had nothing outstanding, but a little anxious, as normally he lived a life with tasks to complete. He expected something bad approaching. Ed picked up a book he'd wanted to read and cracked it open. No matter how he tried, he couldn't get beyond chapter 1. Later, Ian materialized. "Ed, good news. I followed Tony this morning. He went to the police and gave a statement. They're getting a search warrant now," said Ian. "That's fantastic. So, hopefully they'll find your body and your watch, then Sam gets arrested." "It may take a while. I'll follow the police around to check on their progress." "Sure, tell me if there's anything else you require. Otherwise, I've done my part. I'm glad to have done what you needed." With that, Ian disappeared. Ed was relieved by the positive turn of events. He sat down on the sofa and picked up his book. Perhaps now he could make some progress. Later that day, Ian reappeared. "Ed, you've got to help me. I've discovered where he hid my car. There's a lock-up garage about a block from our business that Sam used," said Ian. "Sure, give me the address." Ian gave him the address, and Ed picked up his phone. He called Tony. "Hello," said Tony. "Tony, this is Ed. I have a message from Ian. Please call the detective and tell her Ian's car is in a lock-up garage near the business." "Oh, I know the address. I'll call her now." The call ended. "Ian, he's calling the detective now." "Okay, I'll go check on the police and see how they're doing." Ian disappeared again. This frustrated Ed. He just had to wait patiently for updates. Ed turned on the TV and watched some news programs. Some politician had done something embarrassing again. Opposition were making a big issue out of it. Same old story. Meanwhile, Sarah Manning was directing the search of the business, including using ground-penetrating radar to search for a body buried in the yard. Her phone rang. "Lieutenant Sarah Manning," she said. "This is Tony Cadella. I have another location for you. The business owns a lock-up garage nearby. I suspect he hid the victim's car there. I'll text you the address." "Thank you. We might cover that with the same search warrant, since it's owned by the business." "Excellent." Tony hung up the call. Sarah waved at a sergeant. "Sergeant, I've got a new location for you to check. Your objective is to locate this car." "Yes, boss, will do." She gave him the address, and he left on his task, gesturing to a couple of uniformed officers on his way. It was funny how the hierarchy worked. Shortly, the technician operating the ground-penetrating radar called out to Sarah. She hurried over to him. "Did you find something?" she asked. The monitor showed an image of a skeleton buried below them. "Yes, it's here, right where he promised it would be." "Bring the crew to dig it up." Ian reappeared partway through a cooking program. "Ed, they found my car. They've impounded it for forensics. They're digging up the yard at work." "That sounds like progress to me." "It's the most progress since I died, thanks to you." "You found me my wallet and my phone. I promise to help you in return." "Any news of Sam?" "Not yet. They have to gather evidence first." "Okay. Well, I suggest you continue to watch the police for progress. If you need further help, you know where to find me." "There's one thing you can do for me." "Go on," said Ed. "Once they recover my body, my wife needs to hire a lawyer. With a death certificate, she inherits my share of the partnership. She has to move fast before Sam gets away with the lion's share." "I can do that. I'll go there in the morning, unless you think it's not soon enough." "No, that's fine. I'll go back to work and check on their progress." Ian disappeared again. Ed returned to his program. They were cooking something with mushrooms. He didn't usually eat mushrooms, but he needed the distraction. Later that day, her sergeant approached Sarah. "Boss, we've dug up the body." "Good job. Have the coroner transfer it to the mortuary. I want to prioritize identification and cause of death," she said. "Will do, boss. I'm going back to the office to prepare an arrest warrant for Sam Clifton. Finish up here when you're done. Any news on the car?" "Exactly where you said. I sent it to forensics for analysis." "Good job. See you later." Sarah left the crime scene and headed to the office. This was easy, almost too easy. As she drove, she went through a mental checklist of evidence she needed to gather. She still needed to tie her suspect to the murder. Perhaps the coroner would have something. Ed rose and brewed a pot of coffee in the morning. Ian materialized, all excited. "They found my body. It's heading to the coroner." "Then I'll visit your wife to pass on your message. Would you like to join me?" "I would, thanks." Ed found it amusing to have a happy ghost on his hands. Soon, Ed arrived outside Mary's house and pressed the buzzer. Ian stood beside him. He still felt nervous. The door opened. Mary stood there. "Back again?" she asked with a grin. "Yes, I've got news and a request of sorts." "Do come in." Ed stepped through the doorway and proceeded to the dining room. They sat facing each other around the table. Ian stood to one side. "Mary, the police found your husband's body. Most likely they'll call you to identify the body soon," said Ed. "Wow, where did they find him?" Ed glanced at Ian before focusing on Mary. "The killer buried Ian's body in a yard at their workplace. The police have also recovered his car." She thought for a moment. "And that was your news?" asked Mary. "Yes." "And your request?" "Please retain the services of a lawyer. Once you get a death certificate, you inherit half the partnership. Your lawyer has to secure what belongs to you before Sam squirrels it away. This is a time to act fast." "Well, I hadn't thought of that. It makes sense. Do you have a lawyer in mind?" "Ed, she knows a good one. He helped us in the past," said Ian. "I don't know, but I think you may know someone. He helped you a while back." Mary looked at him with a funny expression. "You're right. I know someone," she said. "It's funny, but you sounded so much like Ian when you said that." Ed shrugged. "I found Ian. You must take care of yourself now. I'm not a lawyer," he said. "Thank you, Ed." "One more thing. You remember Ian had that nice watch? Do you have a picture of him wearing it?" "Yes, it's a Rolex. I bought it for him as an anniversary." "I'll have to search for a picture, but I probably do." "Show it to the lieutenant when you see the police. I have a premonition that it's important." "Okay, I'll play along and do that." Ed stood, and she showed him to her door. "Ed, thank you for all you've done." "I did it for Ian," said Ed. As he returned to his car, he noticed Ian was absent. Sarah was gathering and organizing all the evidence for this case. They had a body and a cause of death, stabbing. They even had the murder weapon. Forensics were checking for fingerprints and DNA, although after a year the chance of finding something was slim. Forensics were also examining the car. She'd invited the widow to come and identify the body. She'd sent a team to apprehend her suspect, Sam Clifton. Soon she'd interrogate him and confront him with the evidence. Her phone rang. It was the front desk. "Lieutenant, there's someone here to talk to you." "I'll be right there," she said. At the front desk she met Mary, the widow. "I got your message. I'm here to identify my husband." "Please come with me," said Sarah. They took the elevator down to the morgue, and soon enough Mary identified her husband's remains. "We've already matched the dental records," said an attendant, "but the body is a year old. No chance of fingerprints or DNA." "That's my husband. He's wearing his wedding ring." "But where's his watch?" asked Mary. "Was there a watch on the body?" asked Sarah. The attendant looked through a list on his clipboard. "No watch, Lieutenant." Mary took a picture out of her purse. "This is a picture of his watch. I also found the receipt for it. A friend had a premonition it would be important. I show you this." "This is perfect. Thank you for bringing it with you," said Sarah. She took the photo and the receipt. If she could find the watch, it might tie the suspect to the murder. "When can I get a death certificate?" asked Mary. "The coroner has already prepared the death certificate. I have it here for you," said the attendant. He handed her a piece of paper. Mary looked at the certificate and put it in her purse. "Thank you. I have to get lawyers involved to secure my business. Please let me know the outcome of your investigation," said Mary. After Mary left the building, Sarah returned to her office. A sergeant was waiting there. "Boss, we brought in Sam Clifton. He's in interrogation room 1 with his lawyer." "Very good. Let's go talk to him," said Sarah. Sarah and her sergeant entered the interrogation room. Sam Clifton and his lawyer sat on one side of the table. She noticed Sam was wearing a nice-looking watch, but kept that to herself. Sarah started the recording machine, and everyone said their names for the tape. She placed a picture of the deceased Ian Ross in front of Sam. "This is your business partner, Ian Ross. We just dug up his body from your yard, together with the murder weapon," she said. Sarah placed another picture in front of Sam. This showed the body and a knife. Sam stared at her but remained silent. "Ian Ross was murdered at your place of business and buried in the yard. We found his car hidden in a lock-up garage owned by your business nearby." Sarah placed a photo of the car inside the garage in front of Sam. The lawyer spoke at this point. "Lieutenant, you have evidence my client's partner was murdered and his body buried in the yard at the business. Do you have anything that ties my client to this murder?" she asked. "I was coming to that. Sarah took out her phone and took a picture of Sam Clifton. She made certain the watch was in the picture. "Sam, that's a nice watch you're wearing. Could I see it, please?" Sam looked hesitant, but lifted his arm. "No, could you please take it off your wrist and hand it to me?" He paused before taking it off, handing it to Sarah. "This is a nice watch. Where did you get it?" asked Sarah. He looked at his lawyer but said nothing. Sarah examined the case back of the watch. It had a serial number and an engraving, "To Ian, from Mary." Sarah placed the watch in an evidence bag. She pulled out the receipt and the picture of Ian wearing the same watch. "The serial number of this watch matches an invoice provided by Mary Ross. This picture shows Ian Ross wearing the same watch, which he wore on the day he went missing." The lawyer looked at his client with a "you idiot" face. "Lieutenant, I'd like a few minutes to consult with my client," said the lawyer. "Of course," said Sarah. Sarah stopped the recording. She and the sergeant left the room. A few minutes later they returned. The lawyer spoke. "We'd like to discuss a plea deal, Lieutenant." "There's no death penalty in Washington State. What did you have in mind?" "If my client pleads guilty of murder, the state can avoid a costly trial, perhaps a reduced sentence. You can discuss plea deals with the judge and the prosecutor. I think our time is over. Sergeant, please read him his rights and book him for murder," said Sarah. Sam was soon led away. The lawyer took his leave. Sarah returned to her office to complete the paperwork. This was a win for her. She'd caught a killer and closed a cold case. Ed was at his apartment, wondering what the news would be. Perhaps he'd return to work soon. He sat on the sofa with his current book. It was a sci-fi novel about a crew aboard a spaceship saving the galaxy. Shortly, Ian arrived. "Hello, Ian," said Ed. "You got another update for me?" "Yes, I do. They've arrested Sam. Mary has contacted her lawyer. Everything is going according to plan," said Ian. "Good. I'm thrilled for you. I suppose you'll be moving on soon?" asked Ed. "No, I think I'll stick around for a while, to ensure Mary is okay." "Of course. I'd do the same if I were you. Once her lawyer secures the assets from the business, she'll be fine." "Absolutely. Oh, I met a few other ghosts. I told them about you and how you helped me. They might visit you," he said with a smile. "But I have no skills at helping them. We got lucky with your case." "That's all right. If you can't help, I'm sure they understand." "I've already got a job and I'll be returning to work soon. I won't be able to help others." "Well, do your best. Perhaps you'll surprise yourself." And with that, Ian was gone. Ed wondered what a mess Ian had dropped him in. Well, that's the end of Chapter 3. And in the next episode, we have Chapter 4. And this time Ed will meet the ghost of a former spy. So imagine how that goes. See you next episode.